author of How to Catch a Russian Spy, the true story of American civilian turned double agent. And also, he's the last human being I actually touched in March at Seattle Sexy Liberal, the first and only live Sexy Liberal tour show in 2020. Naveed
One of those things is true.
That is kind of sad. I believe he is one of the last humans I ever touched.
Same here. Yeah, same here.
End of February.
Yeah, I shook his hand. He's the last man I ever shook.
You would have chosen someone so much better, of course.
Naveed, I'm not going to let go next time I see you. I hope you understand that. Naveed, I issued the Get Me Naveed Jamali yesterday because, while this is getting so pathetic and sort of hilarious now to laugh at how just ridiculous this is, this legal battle. I mean, as someone said, it's not a legal strategy. It's a political strategy, and it is, in my opinion, sedition, what he and the Republican Party are doing, trying to subvert democracy. But it is terrifying on a national security level what is happening and what could happen between now and Inauguration Day, right? I mean, he is our once again, our biggest national security threat. Agreed?
Yeah, I mean, look what happened in Iran, right? I mean, that's basically Stephanie, I think that as he's unwinding, all bets are off, and it's not just the United States, right? I mean, it's very likely that Israel was behind the assassination in Iran of the scientist, and I think it just gives foreign nations sort of a green light that this is kind of the Wild West the next 60 days, and God knows what's going to happen.
I'm sorry, Naveed, checking my countdown to Donald Trump's last day clock. It is 50 days, 11 hours, 8 minutes, and 53 seconds. Please don't make me more stressed out than I already am.
My apologies to America.
All right, now 43 seconds, 42 seconds, 41 seconds.
Boy.
Okay. I saved a couple of tweets I wanted to run by you. So Senator Chris Murphy said, if the primary purpose of killing Mr. Okay, the Iranian nuclear scientist.
Right,
okay.
That's perfectly
was to make it harder to restart the Iran nuclear agreement, then this assassination does not make America, Israel, or the world safer. Frank Flaguzzi, our friend, said the concern is that Trump is essentially writing checks he can't cash. He's leaving this now for Biden to deal with the repercussions about the assassination and Israel's role in the attack. And then Don Winslow said Iran, the assassination that was conducted, Israel would never do it without U.S. Trump sign-off, designed to happen before the administration change, designed to create havoc for Biden. There will be real fallout. The only question is when it happens. Trump equals wrecking ball, buckle up. It's hard to believe that anything is not deliberate at this point, Naveed, and deliberate to undermine Joe Biden and therefore America, right?
Well, I mean, I think that's part of it. I think the other part of it is it's a grab, right? So Netanyahu's really, let's be honest, he's a much smarter version of Trump. I mean, and he knows that the days of sort of carte blanche are coming to an end when Trump leaves. And I think that, folks like him are going to be motivated to make this big dash before the 50 plus days that Trump is still in office. And I think that's what you're seeing. But yeah, it's going to make, whether it's by design or by default, Stephanie, right? When Biden steps in, it's going to make things more difficult with the Iranians. Yeah. Without a doubt.
Well, and it's clear that Biden, like any sane human, would like to get back in the Iran nuclear agreement, which was working by every measure. And you're right. It's like he's trying to complicate that, isn't he? Trump.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think that it's, again, whether it's by, I often go back and forth with Trump. Like, is he this, evil genius? I kind of think not so much, but so then by default, he's creating a situation where, now the U.S., let's make it clear, we're when it comes to negotiation, we've lost a bit of leverage with this. And now we have to go back to the Iranians and try to, make them whole. So it puts us at a disadvantage. It takes one step back for us and we gain nothing from it. So when we go back to this negotiation, table, we're going to have to start at a position of trying to make up for what just happened. And that's never good for negotiations.
Somebody put it, and I don't know if it's hyperbole, but some national security expert, I think Naveed, said this weekend, Israel would like to fight Iran to the last dead American soldier. I mean, so you're right, like what Netanyahu wants and what America wants. obviously, like they want to draw us into this, and I feel like Trump is just driven by sheer petty vindictiveness, basically, right? Just sheer whatever he can, then say that makes Biden look bad, or look what Biden screwed up, right?
Well, I think that yes, but I also think that Trump is motivated by things that benefit him. So it's not just Israel in this case; it's also Saudi Arabia, right? The Saudi Arabia is very much at odds with Iran, and these are two countries that would specifically benefit from problems with Iran and taking Iran down a step when it comes to nuclear armament. So yeah, I mean, clearly there are other countries that benefit, but I also feel like every time this happens, Stephanie, there's always something that like you trace back and it benefits Trump somehow. There's always some benefit to Trump personally, which is crazy. I mean, that's what distinguishes his presidency.
Yeah. Well, what about the moves at the Pentagon in general? Doesn't that concern you, that just all the loyalists he's putting in last minute at the Pentagon? What do you think is up with that?
Well, I've felt that the Trump campaign's sort of refusal to leave is driven by a couple of things. But one of them is, in my opinion, the desire to sort of slow things down so they can kind of clean house. I have a feeling that when the Biden team start coming in and start looking at these books, that they're just going to find, I can't even imagine what they're going to find. Yeah. But then the second thing, when it comes to the Pentagon, is clearly, look, he wants to pull troops out, which is, you don't appoint a Supreme Court justice a few days before the election, and you don't pull troops out of, engagement like this a few days before you leave office. It's insane. No one's asking to do this. Yeah. Of course, we should withdraw, but it should be done in a normal way. So he's putting these loyalists, I think, to try to ram through like these crazy ideas in the last, month of his administration. Again, it always comes back, Stephanie. There's something that benefits him personally here.
Yeah, well, speaking of which, so security experts raising concerns about the safety of state secrets accessible to Trump, particularly as massive debts on his businesses come due. Trump already has access to secrets that could be devastating to the U.S. if they were leaked or sold. Trump has proven to be dangerously reckless with intelligence and confoundingly supportive of Vladimir Putin. But classified intelligence can now also represent a profit center to the heavily indebted president, NBC's reporting. So Forbes say he could owe closer to $1 billion. I mean, this is just an insane national security threat, isn't it? Because you're like, oh, absolutely. And he already looks like he's rushing to fulfill Putin's gift, what do you call it, wish list before. And Putin's, of course, the only leader that said, oh, I'm not clear on the results yet of the election. And in return, Trump is furiously doing everything Putin wants. I mean, it's...
$1 billion, Stephanie, is a hell of a motivation to do something, right?
Is there something legally to be, what if he is indicted or imprisoned? Like, he doesn't still get national security secrets, does he? I mean,
you're absolutely right. And the thing that I think where we are today, the insanity of this is that, Joe Biden might have to do what Donald Trump has been claiming he wanted to do for 4 years, which is potentially oversee criminal proceedings against the person who lost the election to him. So I don't know what we do with this. It's on one hand, we don't want to set a precedence that the loser is going to get prosecuted. On the other hand, it's like some of these things are so egregious that in order to return to standards and norms that we all understand, something has to happen. I don't know what that thing is, but there needs to be a way to reconcile this. We can't just say, oh, yeah, no, that was cool that you did this. Best of luck. There's got to be something here. I don't know what that thing is, but it's going to be something that they have to, the Biden administration have to tackle.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Agreed. Here's a fun fact. You tweeted when I was on set with Maria Bartiromo, she would spend the entire hit looking at her phone and only looked up to read questions off the teleprompter. I could have said Trump's going to lose in 2020. She wouldn't have noticed.
So I spent a lot of time in Fox in 2014 and 2015 before they were, and it's funny, Stephanie, like a lot of people ask about Fox News. And I got to tell you, the times I spent with Shep Smith, an amazing guy, really actually a very decent person. And boy, he cursed like a sailor. So he's of course I loved the way he spoke, but Maria was definitely one of those people that like, she was reading the teleprompter and she'd ask me a question and it's supposed to be a back and forth like you and I are having. She wasn't listening to a word I was saying. Wow. I mean, she was just sitting here scrolling through her iPhone, literally scrolling through her iPhone as I talked to her. I'm sure I'm never going to get invited back on her show, but that's okay.
Oh, darn. There's a giant hole in your life. I mean, because I know we've said it before, but one has to, beyond national security implications, has to just think a minute about how completely insane this person is that has the nuclear codes. Like, just let's listen to one bite from Maria Bartiromo.
Dead people were, in some cases, in many, many cases, thousands of cases, voted, but also dead people made application to vote. They were dead 10 years, 15 years, and they actually made application. This is total fraud, and how the FBI and Department of Justice, I don't know, maybe they're involved, but how people are allowed to get away from this stuff with this stuff is unbelievable.
Let's review, Naveed. So, dead people not only voted, but had the foresight to register. And his DOJ, who has been protecting him from God knows how many crimes, and FBI, were involved in stealing the election from him. Like, have we taken a second to how theory has gotten?
They say that, an aneurysm is an unexplained explosion of the blood vessel in the brain. I think that if you try to think this through and understand it rationally, that's why aneurysms occur. There's no rational
well, this will give you one, because guess who else was in on it? Mailmen.
Yeah. The mailmen are carrying thousands of ballots back and forth. There are many mailmen that are in big trouble right now for selling ballots, getting rid of ballots. This is the craziest thing you've ever seen. But many ballots with the name Trump on were thrown out. You've read that. They found ballots in a river with the name Trump on from the military. They were signed, and they were floating in a river. They found ballots under rocks that had the name Trump on. They were signed. They were signed with Trump. We won the election easily.
Once again, let's review, Naveed. So the DOJ and the FBI were involved in helping register dead people, and then thieving mailmen were selling ballots and then also putting them in rivers and under rocks. Did I cover it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
So, has anyone heard one case of a mailman selling ballots? No? Okay.
Not one.
But this is, okay, and wait, let's just, because I know you miss her, and you probably won't be on with her again. Let's listen. This is her moment in the sun. Here you go, Maria.
This is disgusting, and we cannot allow America's election to be corrupted. We cannot. So you believe you can prove that the computers can circumvent any controls that are in place. And before we leave the subject of Durham, I feel like something happened in September. I don't know what happened, but we were all expecting Durham to come out and AG Barr to be aggressive. He told me back in June that mail-in ballots opened the floodgates of fraud. Why wasn't anything done about it? Why weren't there surveillance cameras to shoot what we know now to be trucks backing up ballots, for example, in Michigan?
You break that one down.
Don't put him on the spot like that.
Trucks backing up.
So
John Durham also involved in the trucks backing up in Michigan?
Yeah.
Naveed, go.
Oh my God. it just sounds like my almost 80-year-old mother calling me, leaving a voicemail asking for help with Facebook. Like it's nonsensical. The computers, Stephanie. These what computers is she even talking about? I don't even know where to begin. It's so, I used to think that these people, it was a grift, but now I actually believe that they truly, to a degree, believe what they're saying.
Yeah.
Which is insane. I mean, there's not a shred of empirical, objective evidence. There's not even a place that I can take this, Stephanie, and say, well, hold on, what she's saying this, and there may be some logic to it, and there may be, and she's saying this, but if she means it, I can't even do that. Like, there's just literally not a foothold to take on that.
Well, you know why?
There's no basis for any of it.
Because that sneaky Hugo Chavez did it, and you didn't see that coming, did you? Because he's dead. Yeah. You said happy Thanksgiving to everyone who has not pled guilty to lying to the FBI.
Aw, that's sweet.
I mean, I do love how...
Table for one.
I do love how just what bumble these people are, because now Michael Flynn has no fifth, so he has to testify for, right? Anybody, and he can't, if he lies, he goes to prison. I mean, okay. You said Flynn was motivated by money. My motivation for working for the FBI was to prove I was worthy of a commission to the Navy. When I was commissioned, the agents who I worked for attended. There can be good spies, just as there can be bad ones. Oftentimes we see the bad ones like Flynn, but we rarely see the good ones, but rest assured they're out there. I mean, he's just a traitor, pure and simple, right?
Yeah, and it's like, And not only is he a traitor, I feel like, again, like Maria, he's starting to believe this insanity. It's not even that, the things that he and his family say. It's crazy. And you're right. Look, people act as if this was someone who got swept up in this, this innocent Boy Scout. He is not. It's worth remembering that there was a lot of issues with Flynn long before he ever made it into the Trump orbit. He was fired by Obama for cause. There's a lot of speculation and quite, I think a little more than that he was involved with a woman who had connections to Russia back in 2014. I mean, look, there's not to mention going to see Putin in 2015. I mean, this is at the RT Gal in Moscow. Like, these are things that are legitimate. These are things that alone should be a disqualifier for a pardon. But again, somehow it benefits Trump, so he's going to do it.
Alicia James on Trump pardoning himself she's like, oh, we're ready. All the AGs have studied this, and we're ready.
These are not smart criminals, Stephanie. I mean, we can rest. The one thing that we can all feel good about going into January is that we've seen this time and time again. They're just not smart criminals. They're not masterminds.
But that's why. That's why we have to prosecute Naveed. You're right, because next time they will be smart. We have set a precedent that this is okay, and smart Trump will be here next, right? And the words of Grisabella from Cats, touch me. It's so easy to leave me all alone in the moonlight.
Oh, my God.
What?
Really?
I miss him since he's the last human I touched.
He's the last hand I shook.
Pardon?
Stephanie, we should leave it with this, that maybe if we hadn't been together, I don't know, it was like we were on the dawn of COVID. Maybe if you and I had done things differently, it'd be a different path going forward.
That's right. That's right.
And the computers.
And I wouldn't be Grisabella in Cats. All right. I love you, Naveed Jamali. See you next time.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Bye.
Bye-bye.